72nd hour, whatever is the reliability, according to that it is going to be calculating. So here it indicates phi of ui belongs to k. Ui is going to be that particular node. U stands for the number of nodes. So when I say ui, it is the ith node that belongs to a set of nodes k. So k is, we define the total number of nodes. If k is equal to 18 and ui say it is the third node, so third node belongs to a set of 18 nodes. So it means that product of ui belongs to k or ui of tau. So reliability of that particular node at that particular instant of time. So initially, when you take initially, if we take assume the reliability of a node is 0.9, so all the nodes are homogeneous. So I take the reliability of all the nodes initially the same. So it is going to be 0.9. So third node it is 0.9. So product of, if I say 3 nodes, it's going to be product of all the 3 nodes multiplied with reliability in the graph. So we said 2 terminal reliability. So 2 nodes of all the 10 nodes should be active. So when I say 2 terminal reliability, it means that at least 2 of the nodes of all the n nodes should be active to get the network to function. So those 2 nodes, if these 2 nodes are going to fail, then entire reliability is going to be equal to 0. So this RG of tau defines the network model and the total reliability of that particular graph, one particular topology. Now for this we need the, for RG of tau we need to have RUI of tau. RUI of tau has to be calculated, for which I told you that we need to study or observe the distribution of the failures or distribution of the nodes, how it is happening. So in this particular case, we have considered the distribution to be probability of ui is equal to 1. It means that the nodes are successful. The success rate of the probability is defined as e to the power of minus tau by theta to the whole power beta. So where theta is going to be the scale parameter and beta is going to be the shape parameter. So based on these two, so based on the theta and beta values, we are going to define the distribution, and this particular distribution is called as the Weibull distribution. So why we are considering the Weibull distribution? It is a most versatile distribution, and it also so when we talk of communication, most of the data related with the communication, everything is going to be normally distributed. And Weibull distribution is a one based on the parameter. We can say whether it is normally distributed or it is positively skewed or negatively skewed. So, I mean, right skewed or left skewed, everything is going to depend upon your shape parameter beta. So, when beta is going to be equal to 1, so this particular model will become a normally distributed model. So we are considering the ring node reliability, the success rate or the node status of the reliability is defined as RUI of tau. Probability U of tau, UI of tau is equal to 1 is defined by exponential of e, that is e to the power of minus tau by theta to the power of beta. And tau is going to be particular instant of time, say from 0 to number of hours which you define. So here in this example, we have considered 72 hours. So we are going to find the reliability of all nodes from the 0 instant to the 72 hours. So when if I put tau is equal to 0, e to the power of 0 is 1, so reliability will be 1. And if you take e to the power of minus 72 by theta to the power of beta, then again reliability is going to be lesser than 1. So now, how am I going to define the node status? Ui of tau is equal to 1 if node I is operational at that particular time t. So what do I mean as operational is, it would have been in that particular coverage area. When it is in that particular coverage area and within all the specified conditions, it is operational. If it moves out of the coverage area, though it may be active, we consider it to be a failed node. Why? Because it is not going to connect with any other nodes. So when within the all the operational nodes. So if the nodes are in the operational at that particular time instant, then it is 1. If it is out of that operational area, then we call it as 0. That means the nodes are failed. Now coming into how to go in for the link reliability. So here I said Lij, that means I is going to be one node and J is going to be the another node. So between two nodes, I take it as Lij at that particular instant of time tau is equal to 1. So we need to calculate the distance. So the distance can be calculated by making use of an Euclidean model or Manhattan model, or you have any other models, n number of models, any models can be chosen. So most of the cases we have considered Euclidean models. So Dij is calculated Euclidean model. So this is a two-dimensional Euclidean model. So you can have n-dimensional Euclidean model as well. So when I say two-dimensional, we are considering 2 points, say nodes Ni and Nj. So Ni will have the locations xi and yi, and Nj will have the location xj and yj. So when we know how to calculate the distance between the 2 points, so using this we got xj of tau minus xi of tau the whole square plus yj of tau minus yi of tau the whole square to the power of 1/2, or you can say square root of this value. So once we are able to calculate the distance, and we are also defining what is the transmission range of any node. So here transmission range of node is either you can write it as Ri or you can write it as Rj. So transmission range is basically the designer's interest. So in this example, we are considered from the 1 mile to almost 8 miles. And it's a homogeneous network. So all nodes will have the same transmission range. So what we do, we compare your distance with the transmission range. If the distance is going to be less than or equal to the transmission range, then we say the link reliability is equal to 1. Otherwise, it is equal to 0. So when it is going to be 1, when two nodes are going to be within the range of itself. So within 3 miles, if 2 or more nodes are there, they will get automatically connected by using the condition Lij of tau is equal to 1 if the distance is less than or equal to transmission rate, 0 otherwise. And now after doing this, so I told that your mobile data networks are arbitrary networks. So at every instant of time, your topology is changing. How it is going to change is based upon the mobility model which we use. And in this particular example, we have used a random waypoint mobility model. So I'll be explaining about that tomorrow. So the random waypoint mobility model. So here, these are the two equations which gives your new x locations and new y locations. So new x location is going to be x of tau plus delta tau. So x of tau means the current location, and x of tau plus delta tau is going to be the next location. So that means with a small change in time, what is going to be the change in the location we are going to calculate. So xi of tau plus delta tau is the new location. Xi of tau is going to be the current location. Delta tau is the change in time, whether it is going to be 1 hour or whether it's going to be half an hour, that is going to be delta tau. And vi of tau is going to be the velocity at that particular instant of time. And cos phi I of tau, this defines the direction, in which direction is your node going to move. So based on the direction, so if it is going to be towards the x-axis, we take the direction as cos term, and if it is along the y, that is yi of tau plus delta tau is going to be the yi of tau along the y-axis. So xi and yi of tau are going to be the current location x and y. Then delta tau change in time. Vi of tau again is going to be the velocity with which the node is moving and which direction it is moving. So these two equations is going to help you to generate your new load locations from the current load locations. So initial load locations, generally how we can take is either if you have a GPS data, so you can use the GPS data for taking as the initial nodes, or you can go in for random generation of node locations and assuming that as the initial nodes, and you can further proceed by making use of these particular equation, new node positions, to generate the next locations. Once the next locations are generated, again you need to follow, you need to check for whether the nodes are active and find out what are all the nodes are active, and then try to generate the link locations. And once you generate the link locations, next link existence, next you go in for generating your connection matrix, which I showed in the previous slides. And after getting the connection matrix, you need to check for the connectivity. As I said yesterday, if there is a direct connectivity, when for the first row, if the last column is equal to 1, it means that there is a direct connectivity, as I showed in the previous slide. So here I will say, you have the first row, and when you see to the last column value, it is 0. So since it is 0, it means that 1 is not directly connected with your sync node. So I'll be checking for the intermediate values. So 1 is connected with 4 and 4 is connected with 8. So I'll be saying 1, 4 and 8 is connected. So this analysis has to be done, checking availability of path. Once the path is available, so in this case, we see that 1, 4 and 8 are available. If we assume the nodes reliability are equal to 0.9, so we have 3 nodes. So I said it's going to be the product of these 3 nodes. That means 0.9 into 0.9 into 0.9, which is equal to 0.729. And you have the links as well here, 2 links. One link is the reliability of the link, we take it as 1. So the entire reliability of this particular network is going to be equal to 0.729. So this is for one particular topology. So like this, you need to keep running your simulation so that you will be getting the as many topologies as required with a duration of 72. So here in this example, I have considered 72 hours, and we are running it for 10,000 iterations. Okay. So when I say 10,000 iterations, each iteration you will be having. When I say 72 hours, you have 72 different topologies. So one iteration, 72 topologies. So 10,000 iterations, you'll be having almost 7,20,000 topologies. So out of these 7,20,000 topologies, you may have some n number of topologies which are connected, and some remaining n numbers may not be connected. So I'll take the average of all the connected topologies, and the average of those connected topologies is going to give me what is called as the reliability of the network. So when at 10,000 runs, when I have taken the topology, it is equal to 0.6944. Excuse me, I'll be back in 2 minutes. So this is about the connectivity, I mean the mathematical model for reliability of network without capacity constraints. So hope I have answered this particular point. Convinced? Any doubts?
Second, ma'am, let me give a chance for participants to unmute themselves.
Hello?
Ma'am, 1 second, ma'am, 1 second.
So yesterday some madam had asked about the mathematical model. Hope she's been convinced. Okay.
Participants, you have any doubts, can ask
so
right
now. Shall I
now.
continue with the next content?
Yes, ma'am. I hope the participants don't have any doubts, ma'am. You can continue, ma'am.
Okay, then I'm not getting any responses.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll continue with the next content.
Yeah. 1 second, ma'am. I will.
So today being the second day of the FTP. So here as I said, I have already dealt with the MANET reliability, the mathematical model without capacity. So next I'll be dealing with, before going into case 2, I'll complete case 3 and case 4 so that it will be, it will give a better understanding for case 2. So case 3 I'll be dealing with, MANET reliability using radio propagation models. So I'll give you a gist of the radio propagation models. And here first we'll be dealing with MANET reliability using FSTRG model. FSTRG is going to be free space 2-ray ground model. And next I'll be dealing with the MANET reliability using log normal shadowing propagation model. So one is going to be your without fading, another is with fading. And then we'll be studying about the results and conclude with some references. And last we'll come back to the MANET reliability with capacity. Okay, so next we'll go into this. Today's content is going to be the reliability, MANET reliability using radio propagation model. So as we know, radio propagation model, we all have, yes madam, Pushpalata madam, got some doubts?
Ma'am, actually I muted all the participants, ma'am.
Madam, have you got some doubts?
Oh, 1 second, ma'am. I will unmute them.
So I think you can use your chat box to give your questions. I'll just continue. So here we are going to study about the radio propagation models. We know what is propagation. Propagation is basically how the signals are going to be transmitted or transfer of signals between the transmitter and the receiver. So when we talk of radio propagation models, we look into line of sight models and as well as non-line of sight models. We all very well know what is line of sight. When both the transmitter and the receiver are able to look at each other without any disturbances, we call it as a line of sight model, or you can also call it as a short distance communication model. And non-line of sight, when there are obstacles between a transmitter and receiver, and still the transmitter receiver is able to communicate either because of scattering or diffractions or reflections or refractions, whatever it is, whatever may be the signal transmission happening, then we call that as a line of sight model. And the simple models or the basic models are going to be the free space model and the 2-ray ground model. We all know very well about it. Free space model is a line of sight model. So wherein no obstacles are should have occurred between transmitter and as well as the receiver. And we have a 2-ray ground model, which is going to be, when I say 2 rays, that means 2 paths are available. One is going to be the direct path, another is going to be the indirect path. The indirect path is going to be due to reflections in presence of obstacles. It could be aerial reflections or it could be ground reflections, whatever it is. We have 2 rays in total. One is the direct wave and another is the indirect wave. So the first model we'll be studying about the probability based link reliability model, wherein we are combining both the FS model and as well as the TRG model. And the second model is going to be the fading model. So to overcome the disadvantages which happens in the first model, we are making use of the second model, and here we will be studying about the effect of this model. When I say fading model, here we are considered log normal shadowing model. So considering this model, we will be studying what is the effect on the MANET reliability. Okay. So next, propagation models, I said, it can happen. We can consider any type of environment over here. It could be an indoor environment or it could be an outdoor environment. Indoor environment is going to be due to the reflections or diffractions or scattering, everything happening within internal within the rooms. So it could be reflections could be either due to the walls or the floors or the roofs or the internal structure which is being present in the room. So this diagram, the first diagram indicates how the propagation can happen in an indoor environment, and external or the outdoor environment. You can see you have a transmitter and receiver. It's not necessary the antennas need to be of the same height. So when it is in line of sight, it means there is a direct path between your transmitter and as well as the receiver. So indirect paths you can see due to the reflections, either due to the buildings, or you can have some trees or ground reflections of any reflections can constitute to the non-line of sight propagation in your communication happening. So next is, we'll start with reflection managed reliability using radio propagation model. So the first model we are going to consider FSTRG model. So before going into this concept, I'll just go into so we have radio models. We have studied about the path loss models. We all know that the power P. So I think the screen is visible to all. Hope the screen is visible to all.
Visible, ma'am. Ma'am, it is visible.
So here we see that PR is equal to P naught D naught by Dij to the power of eta. Eta represents the path loss component. PR is going to be the received power. P naught is the reference, the received power at a threshold distance D naught. This D naught is generally considered to be a typical value is equal to 1 meter in the case of the indoor environment, or up to 1 kilometer, that is from 100 meters to 1 kilometer in the case of an outdoor environment. And Dij is going to be the distance between the two nodes, any two nodes. So when whatever distance, after we generate the locations, we need to calculate the distance. I said we can calculate using the Euclidean distance and we will get some distance. So that distance is this, and eta is going to be your path loss component. So this path loss component differs with the type of environment you use. Whether you use it, whether you deploy your network in an indoor environment, or whether it's going to deploy it in an outdoor environment. Outdoor environment, it could be rural area, or it could be an urban area, or highly populated urban area. So based upon the population, you can define the density of that particular region. So now using PR is equal to P naught D naught by Dij to the power of eta. This can be used to find out the power of the signal. And with the power of the signal, you can further proceed. I'll tell you how to do that. We can go in for the connectivity analysis and finding the reliability. So now this eta is basically going to change. The eta value takes the values from 2 to 6. If eta is equal to 2, it means that this is best suitable free space model. And if it is going to be 6, that means if eta is going to be 6, it means that this network can be deployed in a heavily built urban environment. And based upon the eta value, you can say what is going to be the randomness in the signal. Randomness in the signal is your signal strength may increase or decrease, or there will be fluctuations in the signal strength. So if eta is very high, it means that there is more randomness in the signal. That means the decaying of the signal will be very faster. So eta should be as low as possible to have a better transmission or reception of signals to be taking place. So this free space model, basically it is best suitable for small short distance communication. Okay. So free space model, PR is equal to P naught D naught by Dij to the power of eta. So we all know this. We all have studied this in the antenna and wave propagation. So this is the first basic model which we have studied. Okay, and next second model is going to be a TRG model, that is two-ray propagation model. So two-ray propagation model, the equation for receiving power for two-ray ground model Dij is equal to PT GT GR HT square by HR square by capital L Dij to the power 4. So PT represents the transmitting power, GT and GR represents the gain of the transmitting antenna and the receiving antenna. HT and HR represents the height of the transmitting antenna and as well as the receiving antenna. So in this we see that GT, GR, HT, HR are all almost constants, and L is loss, and Dij is going to be the distance between the two nodes. So when I said this particular model, you have two types of paths. One is the direct path. As I said, your TRG model comprises of one direct path and another reflected path. So these two paths are constitute a TRG model, and from this we understand that the power is in terms of, I can say the power is inversely proportional to the square of the distance, as I showed here. Here in the FS model, power is going to be inversely proportional to square of distance, whereas in the TRG model, power is going to be 1/4 inversely proportional, inversely proportional to the power 4 of the distance. Okay, so here what we are going to do is this TRG model is best suitable for long distance communication. So we are going to combine both the FS model and as well as the TRG model. So combining these two models, why I am trying to combine here is our MANET network is going to be an more mobile network. That means the topology is going to be arbitrary. So some nodes will be located at shorter distances, some nodes may be located at longer distances. So using one particular model, either FS model or TS model, it may not be best suitable for reliability calculations. So what we have done is we try to combine both the models so that we can address both the issues, whether the nodes are at short distance or whether the nodes are at longer distances. So combining these two, we have gone into what is called as the FS TRG model. So now coming back to the slides. So here we are based on the FS TRG model. So we are designing the link reliability as a function of distance. So that is, I have combined both the FS model and as well as the TRG model. What does it mean is the distance between the two nodes. So here I have given a diagram. You can, I think it's visible to all. So this diagram, you can see that I consider a node with a green indication, and the bigger circle indicates it is the coverage area or the transmission range of that particular node. If I'm taking the transmission range is 3 miles, then your radius Rj, it represents 3 miles. So previously in the binary model, when I said when the distance, so distance is here, I've given an arrow indication. So if I have a node at the, say at the radius end point, I have a node here. Then when I calculate these two, distance between these 2 points, it means it is Dij. I compare this Dij with Rj. If the Dij is less than or equal to Rj, in the previous model, I took link reliability is equal to 1. So now what I'm doing is, it is not true in the practical case. You cannot have a link reliability equal to 1. So there may be variation. There may be randomness in the signal due to the obstacles. So when there is a randomness in the signal, so at each particular stage, we need to check what will be the link reliability. So I am splitting it. If the distance is say delta Rj, what is going to be my link reliability? If the distance is say from delta Rj to gamma Rj, then what is my reliability? And from gamma Rj to Rj. So that means I am splitting the total Rj into certain different slots, and at each slot what is going to be the reliability I am going to calculate. So look into the diagram. So let me assume the green circle point is 0. So that means from 0 to delta Rj, if I'm going to compare it with the distance, so you can look into the equation. So I have divided it into 4 parts. So for Dij less than or equal to delta Rj. So if the distance is going to be less than or equal to 2 threshold values we are considering. One is delta, another is gamma. So when the distance is going to be less than delta Rj, we take it as equal to 1. And when I try to project it, I can see that from 0 to delta Rj, I think it's visible. I have written it in red color. So from 0 to delta Rj, my link reliability is equal to 1. it is maximum. It will not exceed 1. Why? Because we are taking it as probability of existence. Since I take it as probability of existence, my link reliability is equal to 1 when your node distance between the transmitter and the receiver. That means I have a receiver at delta Rj. So when I try to calculate the distance, that delta from 0 to delta Rj, when Dij is less than or equal to delta Rj, the reliability is equal to 1. So now if my node is located at say gamma Rj, now again I'll take the distance from 0 to gamma Rj, try to compare it. So we can say that from delta Rj to gamma Rj, you see that the reliability is slowly decreasing. It is decreasing over here. So it decreases and it has certain value, and it's not on, it's trying to go to 0, but it doesn't go to 0. And last, when you consider the entire radius, you see that it is almost reaching 0. Okay, so this shows that at the initial time, at the start of the mission, or I can say each node, as the signals are being transmitted from one node to the another, due to the reflections or refractions or diffractions or scattering, or because of obstacles present, whether it could be built-in area, whether it could be buildings or it could be natural obstacles, you see that initially the reliability of the node is of the link is good, but because of the obstacles, slowly the signal strength reduces. As the signal strength reduces, you can see that the reliability of the link is also reducing. But one thing you need to understand here is, though the reliability is reducing and though the value is reaching towards zero, it doesn't mean that link is failing. Link is still trying to do its performance. The performance of the link is it should be able to transmit the signal what the transmitter is sending. So that is the purpose of the link. So hope this diagram is clear to everybody. So now coming to the equations, when Dij of tau is less than or equal to delta Rj, reliability at that particular distance is going to be equal to 1. And then when I take it between two thresholds, delta and gamma, the reliability is going to be, so I've just given out the last equation because this is a big derivation. So based upon these equations, so this helps you in determining this part of the signal. And last, when it is between gamma Rj and Rj, that is when you're considering the entire radius, you get some reliability. And beyond that, so beyond Rj, if the node is completely out of the transmission range of the other nodes, then no link is going to exist. So that means it is equal to 0. So link existence, it can be defined by the first 3 conditions, and the last condition indicates that the node is completely out of range of the each transmission rate, and hence the link reliability is equal to 0. And now after calculating it, you will be getting some values of each link existence in terms of probability between a value 0 to 1. So how am I going to change? So that means I would like to say the equation. So in your previous day, we had seen the connection matrix, where I have shown connection matrix. If there was a connection, it is 1. If there is no connection, it is 0. But in this case, it is going to be in terms of probabilities. So that means the diagonal elements will all be equal to 0, whereas the other elements is going to have the values between 0 and 1. So it could be 0.9, it could be 0.8, it could be 0.2, it could be 0.5, etc. So here I am just taking a threshold value, and I am defining that if the reliability of that particular distance, link reliability of the particular distance, say if the distance between node 1 and node 2 is equal to 0.6, node 1 and node 3 is equal to 0.2, node 1 and node 4 is equal to 0.5, let me assume. So here I am considering if the distance is going to be greater than or equal to 0.5, you take it as 1. So wherever I have the values, probability values, 0.5 and above 0.5, the link reliability values is going to be 1. and the value is less than 0.5, the link reliability is going to be 0. So that means I'm going to convert a probability matrix into a binary matrix. I can say like that. The values into, I'm making it as a whole numbers. Hope that is clear till this. So this is the way how we are going to mathematically model an FSTRG model. And so what are the assumptions we are going to make over here? So as usual, the network is homogeneous and it is operational at the start of the mission time. I said homogeneous, it means all the nodes are alike in its specifications and characteristics and everything. And initially all the nodes are active. So that means the node status is going to be 1. And with time, the reliability of the nodes will decrease and it will reduce with time. And the model considered here for the node movement, we are considered as the random waypoint mobility model with a 0 pass time. And we assume that they are uniformly distributed in the defined coverage area. And they move with a velocity, say V minimum to V max, and in a direction 0 to 2 pi. And here we assume the failure of the nodes to be viably distributed with scale parameter theta and shape parameter beta. And only thing difference is in the previous model, we consider the link and existence as a binary model. But here the link existence is going to be probabilistic and is a function of Euclidean distance and the nodes transmission range. And the distance between the nodes is going to be within line of sight if it is going to be FS model, and non-line of sight for TRG propagate models. So and here in this case, we are not considered any interference. Why? Because when we consider interference, there will be more complexities involved. So initially in this particular model, interference has not been considered. We have also worked out by considering interference, what will be the effects. But here in this particular FDP, I am not dealing about that. So coming about what are the specifications considered? Here we say 2 different tables. The first table was the case which we considered only for without capacity. So here the additional parameters which we considered are threshold distance delta, which we take between 0 to 1, and the distance beyond the threshold distance gamma, which is delta less than equal to gamma less than or equal to 1. So with the effects of delta and gamma, we are going to define how the reliability values are changing. Okay. So now coming into the network model. So as usual, the first 2 we have understood in our previous case. The same how we define the network model and define the network status, node status. We are making use of a viable distribution, and link model we are making use of the FSTRG model. So if we let us assume if you don't have the second part and the third part, okay, the second and third, let us assume it's not available, then you mean that it becomes a binary model. I think you all understand that. So I'll just try to show it. So let us assume you don't have this. So it means that when I is equal to 1, I mean the RL of Dij of tau is equal to 1 for Dij less than or equal to delta Rj. That means delta is going to be 1. Let us assume delta is maximum. When delta is maximum, it means that Dij is less than or equal to Rj. So I can consider it as a binary model. And greater than Rj, it is going to be equal to 0. So under these 2 cases, it becomes a binary model. Okay. So within the delta is equal, Dij less than or equal to delta Rj, it means it is FS model. And remaining cases, delta Rj, Dij of tau less than or equal to gamma Rj, this is going to be a TRG model. So here we have combined both FS model and as well as the TRG model combination, hybrid model combination we are considered. So when gamma is going to be equal to 0, delta is equal to 1, so it becomes an FS model. Okay, right. And now coming into the link status, as I said, we are going to compare the probabilities of the link reliability. If the probability of the link reliability is going to be greater than 0.5, link reliability is equal to 1. And if the probability is going to be less than 0.5, link reliability is equal to 0. Distance as usual, you can take any of the distance calculation methods and you can calculate the distance. So when you choose a distance model, see to that your computational calculations are less, and lesser the computations, faster will be your simulations. Okay, and now next we have the new load locations, generation of the new node locations, similar to as shown. So this is a random waypoint mobility model. And finally, I said at each topology you have reliability. You see how many topologies are connected, then take an average of all the reliabilities of the connected topologies. So CQ of tau represents that whether a network is connected or not. Summation of that many networks out of capital Q iterations, how many iterations the networks are connected, you sum up all the iterations and product of all the reliabilities, you get an average. Taking it over an average of Q iterations, you will be getting the total reliability RG of tau. Okay. So now coming to the results. So here, okay, you can see that I've given here 4 graphs. The top 2 graphs are network reliability, it is network coverage area with MANET reliability, and for 2 different gamma and delta values. Okay, so when I say delta is equal to, so this is 0.6, delta is equal to 0.6 and gamma is equal to 0.8. I am taking the radius or the transmission range is equal to 3 miles, and the network has got U is equal to 18. That means total number of nodes in the network is going to be 18. Okay, total number of nodes is going to be 18. So we are changing the coverage area, say from 0 square miles to 220 square miles. Almost 400 square miles have gone, but here it's up to 220 square miles. So here you can look into, we are finding 2 terminal reliability, all operational terminal reliability and all terminal reliability. As I said, always 2 terminal reliability has got the highest reliability value because it involves lesser number of nodes, and all terminal reliability will have a lower reliability value because all the nodes in the network are being considered. So in 2 terminal reliability in this case, so we have a node and 2 nodes, that is a source and a destination, connected through a link. So now if the reliability of the nodes are 0.9, so since 2 nodes, it will be 0.9 into 0.9. And now here reliability of link is to be considered because it's a probabilistic value. So if the link has taken a value as 0.9, that means it will be 0.9 into 0.9 into 0.9. So totally it will be 0.729. Whereas in your previous case, we had link to be a binary value, which is 1. So we had the probability 0.81. So that means if you consider propagation, you see that the signal strength reduces, and this affects the connectivity in the network, and because of that your reliability reduces. Hope you understand the difference. In the previous case, when we didn't consider the we considered a binary model, we had a link probability is equal to 1. We got a highest probability, which is 0.81. Whereas when we considered the propagation, because of the fading strength, signal strength, we see that we lose some connectivity. And or we can say between 2 nodes, we'll have a link of probability of existence. So when we multiply, we are getting 0.729 in the second case, whereas 0.81 in the first case. So you see that the difference in this 2, you see that you get if it is a binary model, you have a good reliability. When you have a propagation model, you have the reliability to reduces, but still your network is functioning. But which is the best suitable model? When we consider binary model, it means that we are not considering the randomness in the signal, but in reality, it is not reality, there will be more randomness in the signal. So to match into the reality of the conditions, we going for the propagation model, and we see that though there is a randomness in the signal, your reliability is still good. When we consider 2TR, we are getting maximum should be 0.729. So here we are getting it to something around 0.59 something, the maximum value. So you look into the, again, if you analyze these values, you see that when your coverage area is within 100 square miles, you see that reliability is in an accepting range. And when your coverage area is increasing with a lesser number of nodes, you see that your reliability is reducing. Now I have a question for you. Can you tell me how can we improve the reliability when the nodes are distributed in a larger area? You can use your chat box for that. Sir, I'm not getting the chat box. Sir, I'm not getting the chat box.
Ma'am, you can see more options here, no, ma'am? More. Below to the screen, once you close the screen share, you can see, ma'am.
Or anyone can give an answer for that. How can I increase my reliability at a larger coverage area where I have number of nodes is 18 and my transmission range is 3 miles, but I need a good reliability. So in this case, in this particular plot, you can see that when my distance is say something around 220 square miles, it is something around 0.18, 1.13 or 1.4. But I need a better reliability. What changes I need to do in the design? Can anyone?
Yeah, the question to the participants.
Increase signal strength, direct path can be preferred. Okay.
Reduce
noise. Increase density of nodes, that is really good. One point is increase the density of nodes. Increasing transmission power. Reducing redundancy repetitions, increasing signal strength. So, okay. So as few have given a good answers here, when you say increasing your signal strength, etc., it means that you are going into design constructions of your constraints of your nodes. So that may involve your cost influencing parameters. So without that is one thing. That's also really good, but increasing the strength, you'll be able to communicate over longer distances. That is one point. Second point is, as one of your friends has said, number of nodes can be increased. As I said in your previous sessions, at smaller distances, your 18 nodes, as I said, it will be densely populated. Same 18 nodes, when I go into longer distances, they will be sparsely populated. So at shorter distances, you have more number of connectivity. At longer distances, you will have less number of connectivity, and hence the reliability is going to reduce. So to improve the reliability at longer distances, so you have two major points which you can do over here. Either increase the total number of nodes in your larger distances, so that you can have more connectivity. When more connectivity, reliability will obviously increase. That is one way. Our second way is you need to increase your transmission range of each nodes. If your transmission range was essentially 3 miles, then when you increase it to 5 miles, then means even if you have lesser number of nodes, most of all the nodes will be getting connectivity can be increased. So that is how you can do in this case. So when delta is going to be 0.6 and 0.8, this is the case. And now coming into the second graph. So second graph, you can see that so here I have taken delta is 1 and gamma is also equal to 1. Rj is equal to 3 miles and U is equal to 18 nodes. So compare these two. What do you understand? You see that when delta is maximum and gamma is also maximum, you have the best reliability over here. That means you have it is 0.9. Almost it is 0.8 something for 2TR, and here you can see it is 0.65 for AOTR and 0.5 for ATR when your coverage is between 40 to 60. And as you increase it, you see that at 150, almost 150, beyond 150, it is almost going to 0. And here, at least we had it till 220, we had some values, but higher the values, it means that what is happening? Signal strength is reducing. So at more larger values, you see that the reliability is becoming 0. When the signal strength is reducing, it means we are losing connectivity. And as we lose connectivity, the reliability of the network becomes 0. As long as we don't lose connectivity, we see that we have some reliability. So though it is 0.1 or 0.5, as you see in figure 1a, we can say that still and communication can establish among the networks. But in the second case, when we see delta is equal to 1 and gamma is equal to 1, it is almost reaching to 0. Or in some cases, it goes to 0. When it is 0, it means we have lost the connectivity entirely. So this is what we understand with respect to coverage area. And next, with respect to transmission range, you can see that here we have taken delta is 0.6 and gamma is 0.8. Rj is equal to 3 miles and U is equal to 18. So when the node transmission range is smaller, you see the reliability is small. And at larger transmission range, you see the reliability is high. What does it mean? Number of nodes, I'm having it as a constant. Each node, if it is having 3 miles, almost all the nodes are not getting connected, and hence the reliability is small when the transmission range is small. And as you increase, the transmission range increases. When transmission range increases, it means that all nodes can come into vicinity of each other, and hence connectivity is established, and you have a higher reliability value. So, and of course, 2TR will always be greater than AOTR and ATR. And now when I try to increase your delta and gamma values, you see that because of the reduction in the signal strength, okay, we can see the values are still are smaller than that which we got for delta is equal to 0.6 and delta is equal to 0.8. And one more thing what I would like to say is when delta is equal to gamma, when delta and gamma is equal to 1, your model will behave as a binary model, which we studied in yesterday's case. So this is with respect to the transmission range. And next we have with respect to the number of nodes in the network. So the number of nodes in the network, you can see here also again we have considered delta is equal to 0.6 and 0.8 and same transmission range, and but they are taken a distance, I mean the coverage of different 64 square miles, and this is also 64 square miles. And two different cases, you can see that when the propagation or the signal strength is good, we have better reliability, and when the signal strength, when we are not considering any propagation, it is going to behave like a binary model. So this is the effect of network size on and the propagation parameters on the magnet reliability. So can I have questions over here? Any questions? Any questions?
What is binary model? Ma'am, here someone has posted in chat box, ma'am.
Shall I continue?
Ma'am, someone has
Am
posted.
I audible?
Ma'am, it is audible for me, ma'am. Or audible for us.
Yes, Avinash sir.
Ma'am, it is audible, ma'am. It is audible. Okay, can you hear my voice, ma'am? Ma'am, can you hear my voice?
Yes, sir, please.
Here, someone has posted what is binary model?
Okay, you can please ask the questions if you have.
What is binary model? Ma'am, can you hear my voice, ma'am? Hello? Hello? Ma'am, can you hear my voice?
Sir, any questions? Rajesh sir? Some people are raising, but they're not able to hear me, I think.
No, ma'am, they are able to hear you, ma'am. Here, they have given some.
Sir, your voice is not audible.
Ma'am, here in chat box, they have posted some questions, ma'am.
Sir, it's not audible. One minute. Yeah, please.
Ma'am, in chat box, they has given posted some questions, ma'am.
Okay.
Here, what is propagation parameters? Please explain binary model, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll come to the binary model, which we studied yesterday is the binary model where we are considering the link existence. If it is exist, we consider it as 1, and if it doesn't exist, we consider it as 0. So that means we take a very crisp values, whether existence or non-existence is defined as 1 and 0. So when I say propagation parameters, it is going to be based upon two values, delta and gamma. Here I am taking delta is a value between 0 to 1, and gamma I will take a value between delta and 1. So these are the values. These parameters I am changing. That's what I said here. Here I have taken compared two different cases. So delta is equal to 0.6 and gamma is equal to 0.8. So both I am taking into as a probabilistic values between 1 only, 0 and 1. Right? So I think I have answered the question. Propagation parameters are delta and gamma. Binary model, we are not considering the propagation parameters.
Yeah, participants, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the queries if you are having. Ma'am, here some more questions as posted, ma'am. Here, what is the difference between all propagation models? In chat box,
Your voice is not clear.
Madam, in chat box, they have posted some questions, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm looking into the chat box, sir.
Yeah, please.
What is the difference between all propagation models? So here we are using, in this particular case, I'm using two models, combination of two models. So that is one model is a FS model and another model is two-ray ground model. So FS model, it is going to be a line of sight model, or I can say it is going to be a short distance model, and two-ray ground model is going to be a long distance model. So these are the two basic models. Then other models we'll be studying about the fading models. There we'll study about slow models and slow fading models and fast fading models.
Yeah.
Right. So this I'll be telling, and which model is the best model based upon your model which considers all the conditions like propagation, then signal strength, I can say attenuations, everything, even interference, noise. In spite we having all these influences of the network, if your model is able to give better, perform better and give a best reliability, you can say that is your best model. So it is not specific with what only I have said. You can also consider different models and you can design them and you can say that your model has been the best model, validating properly to the previous models.
Hello, madam.
Yes, madam.
Ma'am, in which condition we have to apply this propagation to the network topology, ma'am?
Which condition means? I didn't understand.
Yeah, which condition means a situation where we can assign this propagation to the topology or a MANET.
It basically depends on where you want to apply, use your model or deploy your model. So based on the environment, you can change. So next, when I go into your next model, I'll be telling, I'll be showing you the path loss environments and as well as other environments. So based on your application, whether you want to apply it indoor or whether you want to apply it outdoor. So when I say outdoor, you have many applications. So based on that, you will have different threshold values, delta and gamma values. So according
one more question. Yeah, ma'am. One more question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, what is the difference with and without capacity reliability, ma'am?
I have not come to that yet. Yesterday,
initially we discussed, ma'am, with and without capacity.
I am not coming to the capacity because directly going into the capacity model, I thought that I'll tell you about the propagation model. So after you try to understand this, you'll be able to understand how we'll be calculating the capacity. Yesterday we have seen only without capacity. Whatever we are dealing now is only without capacity. So next, after completing the next model, I'll be going into the capacity model so that you'll understand how capacity is going to influence over there.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
And someone has written about protocols suitable for MANET. I may not be the right person to tell about that because I have not worked on protocol issues. So sorry for that, Madam Samata.
Yeah.
And
previous one more question, ma'am. Is MANET useful for 5G?
Application oriented, it can be useful. So shall I move on to the next?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead, ma'am.
So this is over now. So next we'll go into the so in a previous case, the problem with the previous case is it doesn't consider any fading of signals. So fading of signals means as a signal traverses over long distances, signal starts attenuating, and because of attenuation of the signals, the receiver may lose the information which the transmitter has transmitted. So in this, we are going to consider the fading models. So when I consider fading models, we have slow fading models and as well as fast fading models. So the model which I have considered here is going to be log normal shadowing model. So now log normal shadowing model here, it depends upon the shadowing deviation eta which is taken over here, or psi which is taken over here. And we design the link probability based upon the distance which we calculate between two nodes. And we also consider the transmission range RJ of the node. And we consider psi, that is the shadowing deviation. Based upon this shadowing deviation, we are going to study the effect which is going to be on the reliability. So these are all the standard values, equations which you can find in the Rappaport book on wireless communication. So in that book, you can get all these equations. So using this, RL is equal to Dij of tau is equal to 1 by 2, 1 minus error function of V. V is going to be the velocity, log of Dij by psi. Psi is going to be your shadowing deviation. And from that, you can get the link status is determined, where B. B is the random number which we are going to generate. And this random number is going to be between 0 and 1. So this random number is going to be compared with your RL of Dij of tau. If the random number is going to be less than your reliability, which we have considered, that will be 1. Or if it is going to be greater than the reliability, it is going to be considered as 0. So that means a probabilistic matrix again is going to be converted into a binary matrix over here. So the same way of considering, only excess thing in your previous case we considered delta and gamma. Yes. Yes. Any doubts? So in your previous case, we had considered delta and gamma. Instead of that, we are going to consider psi over. Okay. So now, and here, what are the parameters we are considering? Right. So we are considering psi, which is going to take a value between 0 to 6. So again, this is going to depend upon the environment which we are going to consider. And we can find all the parameters under different environments. We can find the particular book by Rappaport 2002, or you can go in for the paper published by Rappaport in 2002. And remaining all other parameters are the same which we are considered as in the case of without capacity. And trying to model, so as seen, the first we model the network, a network model wherein find the individual network, and we then we also find the node status, assuming the nodes are all active during the initial state, and with progressing of time, the nodes deteriorate or it may fail. And once it is failed, it remains failed till the end of the machine time. And next, coming into the link reliability, we are considering a log normal shadowing model. So we get RL Dij of tau. Then we compare RL Dij of tau with randomly generated B value. So here actually this has to be changed. We should, this is for the previous model. So this should be B less than or equal to RLJ, RL Dij, and so I'll just change it. Okay, I'll. So I'll change this letter. It has to be B less than or equal to RL Dij of tau. And if it is that value, link reliability will be 1. And if it is greater than RL Dij of tau, it is going to be 0. And the distance, as usual, we are calculated using the Euclidean distance. And next, the new nodes have been, locations have been generated using RWPM, random wave mobility model. And taking the average of all the connected networks, the reliability of all the connected networks is going to give you what is the network reliability. So this mathematical model has been used, and first we'll go look into this. So this is the how the distance we are trying to, with distance we are trying to understand what is link reliability. So here I said shadowing model psi is equal to 0. It has been varied from 0 to 6. So psi is equal to 0 means you see that for a value when your distance is a normalized distance, that is 0 to 1. Why I am trying to normalize it? I am trying to put it in a probabilistic scale. Okay. So normalizing to understand the behavior of the system. So when if your Rj is equal to 3 miles, maximum is going to be 1 value. Normalized distance is going to be 1. So when the maximum distance is 1, you see that from 0 to 1, your reliability is always high. And beyond 1, you see there is a drop in reliability. So that means it is behaving as a binary model. When psi is equal to 0, it behaves as a binary model, or you can say that it behaves as a free space model as well. That means within line of sight, your network is going to perform with a reliability is equal to 1 up to a value of 1.0, and beyond 1.0 it is equal to 0. Now as psi increases, so psi increasing implies that the severity in the environment is high. What do I mean by severity in the environment? It is, I can say that is more, it is most polluted. The more noise is present in the environment. So when psi is increasing, psi is equal to 2, psi is equal to 6, 4, psi is equal to 6, the severity is very high as it increases. So when the severity is increasing, you see that the link reliability values is also changing. Okay. So what severity is 6, at lower values you see you have the severity to be little better. So here it is higher up to a value of 1.0, and beyond which it is decreasing. So though there is a severity in the environment, your network can still perform because your link reliability is better. So when I say psi is equal to 6, you see our link reliability is almost 0.4 to something between 0.3 to 0.4. So up to a value of 0.5, we are going to accept the link reliability values, and you compare the random values with the values which is between 0.5 to 1. So when the random values are going to be greater than the reliability value which you have got, then you say that the network is going to be connected. So the values beyond 1, normalized distance, a normalized distance of 1, you can see that the value, if these values are going to be something above 0.5, automatically network is going to be connected. But here we see that it is all less than 0.4. According to our threshold definition, your network will not be connected. So this is the understanding of what the relationship between the normalized distance and the link reliability. Okay. And next, coming into the results, we have effect of network coverage area. The network coverage area fading is here the psi parameter, and on the MANET reliability. So here I have shown here network coverage area with 2TR, ATR and AOTR. So when I say 2TR, so we know that it is between 2 nodes. So the performance you can understand at 2TR you are getting something around when psi is equal to 0. Okay, psi is equal to 0, you are getting about something 0.8 to 0.85. So in the previous case, so that means I will go back to your previous case also. So this is the network coverage area. You can see your 2TR plot, right? And between 40 to 80 square miles, you see that your value is something 0.8 to 0.85. And similarly, the lowest value is something around 0.1 to 0.2. So now going back to your propagation, this fading model, you can also see when psi is equal to 0, we have got something around 40 to 60 miles. We got something about 0.8, between 0.8 and 0.5, and here also it is value. So that means these two values, when you try to compare, when psi is equal to 0, this model behaves as an FSTRG model. Hope you all understand that. And as you increase psi is equal to 2 or psi is equal to 4 or psi is equal to 6, you see that you have a better reliability performance when, though there is a severity in the environment. Though it is severely affected, still we have a network being performing with a good reliability values. So this is about 2TR. When we come into ATR, ATR means all the nodes has to be active. So when all the nodes are active, obviously the reliability will be lesser than that of your 2TR. So 2TR we got at 60 miles, say we have 64 miles, we have got 0.8 something. And here same at 64 miles, you can see 64 square miles, you can see you are getting 0.45. So you can see the drastic variation, right? Why? Because all the nodes are communicating with each other. So it means that lot of collisions, interferences, etc. takes place among themselves. And hence we find that there is a lot of change in the reliability values. So when it was only between two nodes, the reliability is high. When you are going to consider all nodes, the reliability falls down. And now in the next case, last case, we have all operational terminal reliability. So maybe out of 18 nodes, maybe 10 were operating or 5 were operating. So we see that the reliability when you try to calculate, it is going to be between your 2TR case and as well as ATR case. So this is for the case of the NCA. And coming to the transmission range, you can see that the transmission range, when the transmission range are very small, then we see that the reliability is less. So if we want to increase the reliability in this particular value, either we can go in for increasing the total number of nodes or reducing your network coverage area. So when you reduce the network coverage area, that means and having a more number of nodes or making it densely populated, you can have good reliability. So transmission range, obviously, when compared to all the cases, as you increase the transmission range, you understand more number of nodes will come into vicinity, and because of that, connectivity increases and your reliability also increases. It's maximum beyond, you can say 4 miles. You can look into all the 3 cases. Beyond 4 miles, it is maximum. But when it is 2TR, you're getting almost nearly 1.9 something. And here in ATR, you see that it has reduced to almost 0.5, and AOTR you're getting around something 0.7 something. And coming into your network size, so this network size, we need to define what should be the total number of nodes. So when you look into all the 3 cases, you can see that when you see into the plot 3, when psi is equal to 0, you have a peak, and after the peak you see that it decreases, and mostly in all the cases you see around 20 to 25 nodes is sufficient for your network to perform in this particular environment. Environment in the case, what I'm saying is the coverage area of 64 square miles with a transmission range of 3 miles. I can say that a network with just 25 nodes is sufficient. You need not go up to designing a network with 100 nodes. So if you can take 25 nodes, you have a better performance with a good reliability. So this is with respect to fading. So when we look into this, we can understand that the Monte Carlo simulation based algorithm for the evaluation of 2TR of AOTR and ATR of the MANET using radio propagations has been proposed, and these models have been proposed mainly to design the link existence. So in the first case, we have considered the link existence considering delta and gamma based upon the delta and gamma values. So if your delta is equal to 1 and gamma is equal to 1, then your model is entirely behaving like a binary model. And when there is a variation in the delta values, you see that the reliability is little good compared to delta is equal to 1 and gamma is equal to 1. And free-based propagation model is a realistic model than a pure FS model. FS model will not consider any randomness in the signals. So we combined it and we took it to FSTRG model. FSTRG model could address communication for short distance and long distance communication, but still the attenuation in the signals were not considered. So in order to consider the attenuation of the signals or the randomness in the signals, we had gone into the second approach, considering the channel randomnesses. We consider the log normal shadow model, So this model, we saw that when psi is equal to 0, it behaved like a free space model. As psi increases, reliability increases because we have good connectivity, though there was a power fluctuations, or though there are severe environmental changes. So this using these models, we could go in for longer wireless transmission happening in spite of the severity in the signals. So this is about the FS. I mean, this is about the propagation models and the FS TRG models. Any questions?
Ma'am, shall I?
Yeah, sir.
Wait, ma'am. I will give the permission for the participants to unmute themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, now participants can ask the questions. You can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions. If the participants having any doubts, you can ask now. Yeah, Mr. Mohan Ajay.
So regarding the graph generation, tomorrow I'll be showing you the graph generation. What are the topologies, how the topologies are looking when I deal with the mobility models. So tomorrow when I show different mobility models, I'll show you how the graph is generated. Hope I have answered Mr. Shesha Bhargav. Software used for simulation and graph generation, I have just used MATLAB, wrote a code in MATLAB, and we have generated the topologies.
So if the participant having any queries, you can ask, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the queries.
Yeah, regarding the PPTs, I'll be sending the PPTs to the authorities of BITE, and they will directly share the PPTs to all the participants.
Ma'am, here there is one query. Which protocol is suited to improve the lifetime of nodes?
Yeah, I'm looking into that question. I'm really sorry. I don't have any idea on the protocol. I have not worked on that to give you an answer. Instead of giving a wrong answer, it would be better to accept that I do not know.
Madam, what about fading, ma'am?
Fading, that's what I said. Fading, I have considered only one example, which is the log normal shadowing model, which is a slow fading model.
Slow fading, fading means what?
There are two types of model.
Yeah,
Right?
you
So now I can't go into the details. So we have two types of model, which is slow fading model and fast fading model. So now log normal shadowing model comes into slow fading model. We have other models also like relay models, rice models. Lot many models are there. These are all fading models. So they fall into different categories. So you can refer the Rappaport book for it, and you can understand about the fading models.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. May I know your good name, madam?
Pushpalata, ma'am.
Okay. From?
From Hyderabad, ma'am.
Okay.
College,
Which
ma'am, college.
college?
Siddhartha Engineering College, ma'am.
Okay.
I am doing research in that only, ma'am.
There at Hyderabad?
Yeah.
JNTU.
JNTU, ma'am. No, I am not in Madhya Pradesh, ma'am. Sri Sathya Sai University.
So any questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, here which one question which is posted in chat box, ma'am.
Sir.
Which condition normally distance and link reliability are constant?
Sir, I didn't get you. Your voice is not clear.
Which condition normalize distance and the link reliability are constant?
Normalized distance and link reliability is?
Constant. Constant.
That is at constant. We can see that when psi is equal to 0, right? And the value, so I'll go into the plot.
Hello, madam. Good morning,
Yeah,
madam.
yes, I'll show you this. Let me complete the answer for this. So here, you can see that your reliability is a constant, taking a value is equal to 1. When your normalized distance is going to be equal, up to a normalized distance of 1. And beyond 1, it goes to 0. Okay. So though it goes to 0, it doesn't mean that link is failed. It is not reaching 0 actually. There is some value in it. So it doesn't mean that link is failing. Disturbances. There are disturbances. Kindly mute.
Yes, ma'am. I have done the mute.
Yeah. So here, okay. So when I look at this, when psi is equal to 0, I see that the reliability is a constant up to a value of 1.0 normalized distance, and beyond 1.0 it is reducing. Though it is reducing, it doesn't mean the link are failing, but the links are called as degraded links, but still it can perform the function which we want. When we want transmission of a signal to take place, it's going to perform, maybe with a little attenuation, but it doesn't mean that the signal has failed. We call such links to be degraded links instead of calling it as failed links. So we have a constant reliability when psi is equal to 0. Have I answered?
Yeah. Hope. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Shall I go into the next topic?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right? Can you ask the participants, sir? If they're ready, I'll continue. If not, I'll give them a break.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes. Hello.
Hello. Ma'am, this is Samatha from Visakhapatnam.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Ma'am, this is Samatha from Visakhapatnam.
Yes, ma'am. Ask me.
Yes, ma'am. What is the network tool you have used for simulation? May I know, please?
I've just used MATLAB. I've written the code.
Okay, through code. Simulation, ma'am. Network simulation also.
No, I'm not. That's what I'm saying. I've written the code and simulated the code. And through the code, I've got generated all this. I've used,
yes, ma'am. Okay.
MATLAB coding. I wrote the code and generated.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So you just find out if it may take another 40 minutes.
Okay,
If they're
ma'am.
ready, I'll continue. If not, I'll continue tomorrow.
You can. Okay, ma'am. You can.
I have no
Wish, ma'am.
I'll continue. If you want to continue, I can continue. But listeners should be ready for it.
Hello, excuse me, madam.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, well, madam, it's better to continue tomorrow.
Okay, fine. That's what I'm asking. I wanted to know the opinion of the listeners, participants.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Charging also over.
Okay. So for me, no problem. Tomorrow I'll have 2 contents to continue. So as you have been waiting, many of you are waiting for the capacity inclusion.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes.
Tomorrow I'll be dealing with capacity and as well as the mobility model and closing the session.
Okay.
Ma'am, tomorrow at what time you can meet, ma'am? 10 o'clock, ma'am?
Again at 10 o'clock, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Right? So
Right,
10 o'clock we'll meet and I'll conclude the section.
Madam,
Yes,
good
ma'am.
morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Madam, is it possible with Python, madam, rather than MATLAB instead of simulation, madam?
Sir, as I said, you can do with any land coding, provided you should know to generate the topologies. That's it.
Yeah, madam. Yeah. Madam, in this regard, power consumption may leads to any problem, madam, because as throughput is increasing or else number of nodes is being increasing.
Tomorrow I'll be dealing about that, sir. You'll have a better understanding.
Yeah, madam. Yeah, madam. Thank you, madam.
When I start with capacity constraints, certainly it is related with power also. Your transmission power and receive power, signal to
Yes,
noise ratio, bandwidth.
Yes, madam.
All these things
Yes,
I'll be considering tomorrow, and you'll have a better understanding from that.
Yeah, madam. Thank you, madam. This is Aditya from Mallareddy College, madam, Hyderabad. Madam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Madam, good morning, madam.
Good morning.
I had one doubt.
Yeah.
There are various network simulation tools, madam. NS2, NS3, Glomosym simulation tools are there.
Yes.
Which one is better, madam? Either MATLAB or which of the tools are better?
I do not want to say only this tool is better and that tool is better. We have a lot of tools. So it basically needs an understanding of the tools. If you are very good in coding, you can use MATLAB and you can generate, or if you're good in simulators, working on simulators, most of the work related with MATLAB, MANET, you can see that most of them have used NS simulators or global sim or OpSim, anything. So based on your convenience, you can use it. Each and everything will have its own pros and cons. So we need to improvise over it, and we need to see which could be apt. I can't just say that MATLAB is very good or that is very good. Everything has its own pros and cons.
Madam, does MATLAB supports fuzzy logic techniques, madam? Artificial intelligence techniques, MATLAB. Does it supports?
Yes, it supports. You have machine learning tools. You have fuzzy tools in your MATLAB.
Okay.
You can use those.
Can you suggest any one MATLAB fuzzy logic tools, madam?
No, there's already a toolbox, a fuzzy logic toolbox in it.
Okay.
Basically, if you have purchased your MATLAB with as many toolboxes, you will be having it. Or else only the MATLAB coding part will be available. And as long as you don't purchase any tools, you'll not be getting any toolboxes. You need to purchase the toolboxes along with your MATLAB.
Okay, okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the participants? Yeah, I hope no, ma'am.
Sir.
I hope there are no queries from the participants.
Okay.
Shall we meet tomorrow, ma'am?
Tomorrow 10 o'clock we'll meet, sir.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I'll try to finish it little early. So we have two contents to go with. One is the mobility models, and second is going to be the capacity model.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, madam. Sir, can you share the feedback link in the WhatsApp group, sir? It is not opening from chat box, sir.
Yeah, sure. I will forward in the chat WhatsApp.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, Padmavati ma'am, we can meet tomorrow, ma'am. Then let's close the session.
I'll share the PPTs tomorrow, sir.
Sure, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Tomorrow itself, I will also send the PPTs to the participants.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.